You ever get that feeling where someone just occupies your whole mind, even when they're thousands of miles away? That was me, staring at my phone in my tiny Chicago apartment, scrolling through his text one more time, wondering if he missed me the way I missed him. Before we continue, drop your city and time in the comments, and thanks for listening to my story. Now back to the story. His name's Jake. Tall, dark hair, always messy, grin like he knew he was trouble but you didn't care, and those eyes, man, those eyes could pin you down from 1,000 miles away. It wasn't always like this. We met freshman year at a Northwestern campus party, a total cliche, but whatever, it was us. I spilled my drink on his sneakers, he laughed instead of yelling, and just like that, I was hooked. Hooked on every dumb joke, every late-night conversation, every moment where it felt like we were the only two people in the world. We dated for a year, normal college stuff, and then reality hit like a brick. He got accepted into a grad program in Boston, and I had my internship lined up in Chicago. Long distance, we promised we'd make it work. We had to. The first few months were okay. Texts, FaceTimes, the occasional weekend trip. We called it our adventure, and I smiled even when my chest hurt from missing him. But then life got real. He'd be buried in lab work, I'd be stuck at the office, and suddenly the hours between messages felt like oceans. You ever check your phone 100 times, hoping for a hey, thinking of you? Yeah, that was me daily, and then came the fights. Little things he forgot to call, I snapped at a text, and suddenly it was this whole thing about trust and distance and whether love was enough. I'd lay in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, thinking, is this worth it? Jake was my heart, my best friend, the guy who knew my favorite ice cream flavor before I did, but the distance was killing me, killing us. One night, after another fight about stupid stuff, I sat by my window, rain streaking down the glass, and texted him, I can't do this anymore. Immediate regret, but my fingers wouldn't retract. Minutes felt like hours. Then my phone buzzed, Jake, don't give up on us, not yet, I'll come to you, plane leaves in an hour. I stared at it, heart slamming, disbelief buzzing like electricity. Could he really do that? Could he just show up? 2 hours later, there he was, soaking wet from Chicago rain, backpack slung over his shoulder, hair plastered to his forehead, grinning like a fool. I told you I wouldn't let distance win, he said, voice shaky, eyes glinting like he'd been holding back everything. We didn't say much at first, we just hugged, really hugged, like I could feel every mile between us dissolve. I cried, he held me, and all the fights, all the doubts, they disappeared. That night we walked around the city like teenagers, laughing at nothing, holding hands, stealing kisses in alleys lit by the golden glow of street lamps. I realized then that sometimes love isn't about logic or timing. It's about showing up. Weeks turned into months. Jake stayed in Chicago for the summer, taking on remote projects, and we were inseparable. Every morning, coffee together. Every night, walks along the lakefront. I saw a side of him I'd missed, quiet and thoughtful, not just the flirty text guy from afar. And I let him see me, too, the messy apartment, the bad hair days, the laugh that got stuck in my throat sometimes. No distance, no screen, just us, but reality always returns. His grad program would start again, and I'd be swamped with work. We sat on my couch, pizza boxes scattered around, rain tapping on the window. Are we really gonna do this again? I asked. He nodded, serious. We have to. I can't just leave you, but I also have to finish this program. 1 more year, we can do it. I groaned. I hate this, Jake, hate it. I want you here now. I know, he said. Me too. And we held each other, quiet, knowing the next year would test us like nothing else. Long distance is a killer. Days without his voice were heavy, nights without him felt endless. Texting was never enough, calls couldn't replace his presence. And yet, we survived. We fought like hell, loved like fools, and slowly learned how to be together while apart. Every goodnight text, every random meme, every late night call, it was our lifeline. I can't tell you it was easy. I cried more than I'd like to admit. But every time I saw his name pop up on my phone, my chest did a weird flip, and I knew, worth it. Then came the turning point. Jake had completed his first year, but there was a summer break. We decided finally to take the plunge. He rented a tiny apartment near mine. It wasn't fancy, wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Walking into that apartment for the first time, seeing him laugh at the ridiculous furniture arrangement, I felt it. Home. Home wasn't a place, it was him and me together. Every morning after that, we woke up next to each other, coffee in hand, sun streaming through the blinds. No screens, no distance, no excuses, just us living, laughing, loving. Every touch, every glance, every soft "I love you" whispered over scrambled eggs or late-night TV, it was electric. I couldn't believe this was real. We explored Chicago like tourists, Navy Pier, Millennium Park, the lakeshore, always hand in hand. I introduced him to my favorite bakery. He introduced me to his secret sushi spot downtown. Every meal, every laugh, every silly argument over directions or which movie to watch, it was all part of the puzzle. Love had finally caught up with us, but it wasn't just the fun stuff. We supported each other through hard days, his grad projects, my work deadlines, family stuff, emergencies. Even when we were stressed, tired, annoyed, the foundation never cracked. We learned to communicate without distance breaking us. We learned to fight fair, love better, and cherish the small moments. One rainy afternoon, I remember us standing on the balcony watching Chicago drizzle. Jake slipped his hand into mine, leaning close. "You know," he whispered, "I never want to do long distance again, not with anyone. I just want this us forever." Tears welled up and I nodded, squeezing his hand. Me too, no more miles, no more waiting, just together. And that's when it hit me, the journey, the distance, the struggles, they all led to this. The fights that almost tore us apart, the nights spent crying into pillows, the moments of doubt, they were worth it. Because in the end, we were together. No distance, no screens, just love in its purest, most raw form. We kissed, the city buzzing below, rain falling around us, and I knew nothing would ever feel as right as this. The long-distance nightmare had finally transformed into a love story I could touch, hold, and breathe. And I whispered into his shoulder, "You're finally here, and I'm never letting you go." The months after were magical. Every weekend became an adventure, road trips, late-night diners, music festivals, lazy mornings with pancakes. Life felt richer, brighter, heavier in the best way. We laughed harder, held tighter, and loved louder. And every night, I thanked fate for every mile that once separated us because it taught us how to fight for what mattered. This was just the beginning. Long distance had tested us, shaped us, and made our love unshakable. And now, standing in his arms, watching the Chicago skyline glisten, I realized we had finally made it. The first morning we woke up together without a phone alarm or a countdown to the next goodbye, I swear I felt like I was dreaming. Jake's arm draped over me, hair messy, breathing slow and steady, and I just couldn't stop staring at him. I wanted to memorize every detail, every freckle, every curve of his smile, because I'd waited months, years, really, to have him here without miles between us. We spent our mornings in cozy chaos, coffee brewing, music playing softly, our laughter mixing with the hum of the city outside. I'd make pancakes he would inevitably burn, he'd complain jokingly, and I'd laugh at his fake irritation. Life was messy, imperfect, and perfect all at once. The first big test came unexpectedly. Jake's grad program demanded he go on a 3-week research trip, this time to New York. I groaned, staring at the travel itinerary, already missing him before he left. "I thought we were done with distance," I muttered, hugging him tight. "I know," he said, kissing my temple, "but we can handle this, we've done worse." And we had. 3 weeks apart felt brutal at first, but something had shifted. Instead of panic or doubt, we found rhythm in our separation. We left little notes for each other, texts that weren't just "hey" or "good night," but stories, jokes, memories, snippets of life we couldn't share in person. We FaceTimed in the mornings just to see each other wake up. Even across the miles, the connection never broke. When he came back, the reunion was cinematic, me standing at Union Station, heart pounding, scanning the crowd until I saw him. He looked exactly the same, and yet everything had changed because we'd survived the distance again. We ran into each other's arms like kids, laughing, crying, the kind of hug that makes strangers stop and stare. From that moment, we realized something important. Distance could test us, break some couples, but it also made our love intentional, deeper, and resilient. We didn't take each other for granted. Every morning coffee, every late-night conversation, every spontaneous kiss became a small celebration. Months rolled on, life moving fast and slow all at once. Jake finished his program, landed a job in Chicago, and suddenly the long-distance label was gone forever. We celebrated by renting a tiny loft together, all exposed bricks and sunlight pouring in through the windows. We painted the walls together, argued over furniture placement, and laughed until our stomachs hurt. One night, sitting on our rooftop looking at the skyline, I asked him, "Do you ever think about those first months, all the fighting and missing each other?" He nodded, eyes soft. "All the time. And every second was worth it because it led to this. You, us." I leaned my head on his shoulder, heart swelling, knowing he was right. Life wasn't just laughter and joy. We faced family drama, work stress, and the occasional argument that left one of us silent for hours. But through it all, we came back to each other. We learned to communicate better, to apologize first, to hold on tighter when things got rough. We created little traditions: Sunday morning pancakes, Friday night walks along the lake, spontaneous road trips to Milwaukee or Madison just to escape and breathe together. I discovered that love isn't only passion and fireworks. It's comfort, consistency, and knowing someone has your back even when the world is upside down. One winter, as Chicago froze under a heavy snow, Jake surprised me. He wrapped me in a blanket, made hot cocoa, and led me to our living room where he'd set up a tiny makeshift sled for us to sled down the hallway. We laughed until tears ran down our cheeks, collapsing in a heap of warmth, bodies tangled and hearts racing. Those were the moments I wanted to freeze forever, the mundane made magical just because we were together. By spring, it felt like we'd built our own little universe. Even mundane tasks, grocery shopping, laundry, dishes, were a chance to be near him, to steal kisses, to whisper, "I love you." Sometimes, late at night, I'd watch him sleep and feel the absurd, overwhelming gratitude of having someone who had fought through miles, months, and doubts to be here. One evening, as we cooked dinner together, Jake grabbed my hands across the counter, eyes glinting with that familiar mischief. "Remember the first time you spilled your drink on my sneakers?" he asked. I laughed, rolling my eyes. "Of course. You've never let me forget." "Well," he said, leaning closer, "look where we are now, from wet sneakers to an apartment together. Not bad, huh?" I smiled, leaning into him. "Not bad at all. Best mistake I ever made." Months turned into a year, and every day our love grew stronger, richer, deeper. We had our routine, but it was never boring. We explored new neighborhoods, tried new foods, danced in the kitchen, sang along to dumb playlists, and held each other during storms, both literal and emotional. And then came the night I realized we were truly home. We sat on the balcony, stars scattered above, city lights shimmering below, wrapped in a blanket together. Jake turned to me, eyes serious, full of unspoken emotion. "I can't believe how far we've come," he whispered. I leaned against him, heart full. "Me neither, but I wouldn't change a second." He kissed me slowly, deliberately, like he was sealing every struggle, every mile, every heartache into that one perfect moment. "I love you," he said, pulling me close, voice trembling slightly. "I love you too," I whispered back, tears welling because it wasn't just words anymore. It was proof, every day, every touch, every laugh, every shared sunrise. We spent the rest of the night talking, planning, dreaming, our future bright and wide open. Every mile we'd endured, every lonely night, every fight, it all led here, together, finally. Life wasn't perfect, but it was ours, and that was enough. Long distance had tested us, shaped us, and now it had nothing left to teach us. We had each other always. And as I drifted to sleep that night, Jake's arm around me, the city lights outside our window, I realized love isn't about distance. It's about showing up, staying, fighting, and choosing each other over and over. And that's exactly what we did. The quiet months, the lonely nights, the miles apart, they were all part of the story of Jake and me. Two people who loved fiercely, who fought hard, who never gave up. Until finally, all the distance in the world couldn't keep us apart. We were home, together, forever. And that's the kind of love worth every tear, every mile, every second.